March 11th school committee meeting. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Danvers Public Schools is a dynamic community of independent learners dedicated to respect, responsibility, creativity, and the pursuit of academic and personal excellence. This meeting is being broadcast on Danvers Community Access Television. Is there anyone else recording the proceedings? Okay, so we can start first with public comment, and any public comment, it has to be relative to the agenda. So if you're coming up, yes. Yep, just state your name and.
Sure is. Mary Beth Berry, current president of DEEP, the Danvers Educational Enrichment Partnership. I'm here this evening to just update the community as to our fundraiser that's happening this Thursday at the Danvers Port Yacht Club, March 14th from 6 to 9. We will be in the Terrace Ballroom downstairs this year. Tickets are currently on sale. They're $45, and it gets you entrance to the wine tasting. Merchants Liquor Mart will be there. They're our primary sponsor. We'll have restaurants from the community that are also going to be providing samplings of their food. What I want to really drive home is that this is our largest fundraiser that we do every year, and DEEP gives thousands of dollars back to the Danvers Public Schools. And not only is it in teacher grants, but a number of other things, and one of them is DECA. So this year, we have committed to providing DECA double what we usually do, and the need is there because this past weekend was the state competition in Boston where we had 125 students participate, 53 placed in the top 10, and 38 are moving on to the international competition in Anaheim, California. Initial talks on how much it's going to cost per child is over $1,000. So hardships on families if they have more than one child participating. DECA does do fundraising themselves, but we want to be able to really help them. So in order to do that, we need people to attend our wine tasting this week. Again, tickets have been on sale. You can purchase them in person at Merchants. The curriculum office also at the high school, you can purchase them there or online. So if you go to www.supportdeep.org, there's a link for the wine tasting, and it would be great to have the support of the district. Our administrators certainly support us, but we're really looking for some support this year because if this fundraiser does not continue, and in all honesty, this is a lot of work, and it was a lot for our committee, but I did have our school committee member, Gabe, say it has to come back, so I hope to see you there. But if it doesn't, bring in what we need it to, we'll have to do other things, and that's fine, but just want the folks to know we're trying to really help our schools, and this is one of the major ways that we do that. So, and we have a meeting this Wednesday, and it's going to be at Danvers High School this month. We're also gonna have some students that did participate in DECA this weekend come and speak at our meeting and let us know about their experience and what's ahead for them. And if you don't know about DECA, just all I can say, it's an awesome group that we have, probably one of the largest extracurriculum groups at Danvers High School, and it was very impressive, and we all should be proud of how the students participated there. I was a chaperone for another school district, and I can tell you it is a great event and group, and I want to thank the administrators for supporting it, and our teachers that chaperoned, and our DECA advisors who do an awesome job, and the students themselves were like beyond, like it's no words can explain it. So that's all I have to say. So hope to see y'all there, and anyone else who would like to come, that would be great. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Shilpa Jacoby. I am a parent and a librarian, a middle schooler at the Holton Richmond Middle School. I have some comments regarding remarks that were made by a committee member at the last school committee meeting regarding some books that are being read and taught at the middle school. There was a claim that these books are too dark and that the themes are not appropriate for middle school. One of the books in question was One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams Garcia. This book is the winner of the Scott Odell Award for Historical Fiction and the Coretta Scott King Award, and was also a National Book Award finalist. According to the Children's Book Review magazine, the author, Rita Williams Garcia, does a magnificent job of telling the story of how three sisters worked to regain their mother's love during a revolutionary time in African American history, also American history. The sisters are unforgettable characters that draw you deep into the story. You'll love all three of their individually powerful voices as they discover so much about themselves, their family, their culture, and the general lack of fairness that surrounds them in life. Also, a note on the Black Panthers, as they were mentioned in the book, and their relevance was brought to attention in the last school committee meeting. Among the Black Panthers' many initiatives, they campaigned for prison reform, held voter registration drives, organized free food programs, which included food giveaways, and school breakfast programs in several cities, and opened free health clinics in 12 cities, serving thousands who could not afford it. Reading is a foundational skill, critical to future learning and to exercising our democratic freedoms. Educators have the best sense of the appropriate age range for the diverse learners they work with, and understand these ranges vary depending on a book's intended use. The books taught in schools and available in school libraries are chosen by professionals based on criteria that are as objective as possible. When books are kept from students because of the personal or political beliefs of any person or group, rather than because of professional educational reasoning, that's censorship. Books are tools for understanding complex issues. Limiting young people's access to books does not protect them from life's complex and challenging issues. My middle schooler is consistently called names in school, including the N-word and the R-word. He is called curry chower because of his Indian immigrant heritage. He's called a bomber and a terrorist. He has internalized much of this racism, and it has and will continue to have an adverse effect on how he views himself, among other things. Young people deserve to see themselves reflected in books, and these books are windows and mirrors and bridges where some kids get to see and learn their history, and other kids have a window into the struggles that others face and learn the importance of empathy and kindness. I'm here to ask you today to be careful with your words, because words have power. And those of you in positions of leadership in this town have an opportunity and a platform to offer support. Bring the community together and be an example of understanding and empathy. And just remember, what you see as fiction in these books are other people's living reality. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also suggest there were no books brought up at the middle school or names of books, and it was more about appropriate teacher training. So I want to get this fact straight there. Anyone else? And again, this needs to relate to this, so if it's about curriculum, this is not on it today. This is on March 25th, I believe? 25th, yeah.
Relates to comments made last week about the curriculum. Is that not part of this?
The agenda has to be about, public comment's supposed to be about what is on the agenda for tonight.
But isn't the agenda part of the agenda the curriculum?
Not tonight it isn't, no. It's listed as
Check the agenda.
subcommittee updates.
Curriculum and equity subcommittee update. And if I can't speak,
Yeah.
I just would like to echo what Shilpa shared.
Yeah, I mean, we are gonna talk about what is happening from, like, with the units. That is on upcoming school committee meeting.
The books Watson's go to Birmingham and One Crazy.
Yeah, no books were mentioned last meeting at all. I just want to clarify that. There were no books that were mentioned. It was brought up concerns that other parents had, so that is our job to also bring that up. But yeah, you can speak. There were no books brought up.
Can you also display the agenda on the screen there? We'll try.
Or can Mary?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I'm speaking, I have a parent, I've had 3 children going through the Danvers Public School. My last one, or our last one, is a senior. at Danvers Public Schools, at the high school. And I'm also a special ed tutor in a different district. So I guess when it was brought up last week about talking about difficult subjects and reading books about difficult subjects in the schools, and I thought it was about Watson's Go to Birmingham, but perhaps not. But I did want to share from my own personal experience that books, even at an elementary level, have given myself an opportunity to read someone else's perspective, maybe not my lived perspective like Shilpa mentioned, but someone else's lived perspective, and then have a dialogue with my kids. And also I see that in the district that I work for, there's a lot of very heavy, deep issues that are talked about in books that they read at an elementary level, but it's such a great place for the kids to delve into this. I think healthy race relations, and that's what I guess what struck me is we need to be reading books about race relationships, whether they be good or bad or dark in our nation's history. We need to be reading them because it gives us a chance to have some dialogue within the classroom. And healthy race relations begin with dialogue of different people and different races coming together. And what better way to do that, to start at an elementary level in a classroom with the structure of the classroom and the teachers. So I think I would want to echo what Shilpa said, that we need to be very careful not to be censoring certain books, especially books that are looked on by many educators across the country as being prize books and great for fostering discussion. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Keith Stefanik of 107 Holton Street. I have an 8th grader and a 6th grader, both at Holton Richmond. First thing I want to say is thank you to the committee, the superintendent. I mean, I could see sometimes this is thankless work, and we see it from the community side, so very appreciative of everything everyone at this table is doing. But I am here. The last time I was here, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, as my 8th grader did her 11th and her final HRMS musical performance of Matilda, which was fantastic. I have a 6th grader who did her series of shows, and the emotion and the passion behind what was on stage was off the charts. All 3 years. It'll be a highlight that she will remember in my older and middle school and probably well beyond. So I'm here in another emotional state because I want to express my disagreement with the cutting of the drama public speaking position at Danvers. I think over my daughter's 3 years, there were 2 really talented educators to put this together. I teach middle school. The effort, the blood, the sweat, the toil to put a performance on like that from ages 11 to 14, phenomenal. So the idea 2 days later that the position is now being cut. You know, you don't make your best decisions on a bottom line. You know, I just can't, I don't agree with the cut. I'm told that the program will survive, but if you take away the course, you're eroding the potential talent, the kids who are getting into the program. I just, all in all, I disagree with the decision. I think it should be reconsidered. I think, you know, if cuts have to be made, I think it has to be looked at again. You know, I just, you know, I think you would never do this with sports. You would never do this with football. You wouldn't do it with basketball. So why drama? Why public speaking? SEL is a big fad in education. What better way of social emotional learning, working with others, public speaking, being up in front? I'm shaking right now because I'm nervous, but think about a 12-year-old up in front of this entire NPR full. And why does that happen? Because when I first got here as a parent, I said, wow, what a range of exploratory courses we have here at HRMS. It's easy to make cuts. It's hard to keep things that make you unique. One of the things that makes us unique is the range of exploratory courses, public speaking and drama. right? If you lose what makes you unique, you lose those gold star moments that you have as a school system. I'm concerned about that because, I mean, that is one thing that really stood out in a positive way. You know, you look at all the things people say negative things about school systems. What a terrific thing this, I hate to say, was. What a terrific thing it is. And for it to be taken away 72 hours after this place was full, and standing ovation and tears of emotion from those students, parents, grandparents, extended family. I'd like that decision to be reconsidered. You know, bottom line is never a good educational policy. So I ask the committee, the principal, to reconsider that cut and keep the drama and public speaking course, because it's not just about a club. I think that is a skill that students can use well beyond their years, and I think it's a positive memory. There's just so many talented educators who are pitching into that, and you know, I'm here to just say, I think the cut is a big mistake, and I think the ripple effect will be seen for many years. So I'm asking for you to reconsider that cut. I thank you all for your time. I know I'm probably over time, but thank you.
Thank you. We'll also have more updates on that on the 25th also. Anyone else?
Mike Shannon, 29 Mass Ave. I had no intention of speaking, but after hearing that last gentleman, I felt compelled to get up and mention that it's my understanding that you're moving the budget or bringing the budget to the town this weekend, correct? So if you would add another point or two, maybe we could put some people in the room to help you move that budget for a favorable action, and hopefully the money's there so you can make some, you know, you can reconsider some of the things that you just heard. But if anyone in the town is listening, and anyone in the room feels it's important enough, be there Saturday morning. Do I have that right?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.?
Yeah, to me room.
Support the school
To me
budget
room.
to people on the select board, and hopefully get a favorable action. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I'm here for two reasons. Alexis, 29 Bayberry. So I'll start with the first reason because my daughter sent me here, who recently transferred back into the Danvers Public School District and is having a great time. But when she heard that the public speaking position was being cut, she was very unhappy and asked that I come in and speak in favor of those things. She says, "Mom, you're a great public speaker. You did theater when you were in school. I know you're an engineer now, but can you at least share how important it was to your upbringing?" And I think it's important, and it kind of overlaps what I would say cautionary language that Robin used last week with respect to stories being too heavy and the confidence that kids have when they're telling their story, and how important it is for kids to have that confidence. And the books that you referred to as too heavy gives young kids of color the confidence to tell their stories, and public speaking gives them the skill to be able to tell their stories for generations. And it's those stories that make up the fabric of who we are as a world, as a community. And if we start tearing away at that, taking away positions, tells our students it's not important, even though it is. It's important professionally to be able to present in front of your bosses, your peers, to sell an idea if you want to be an entrepreneur. And it's important for all stories, regardless of how heavy they might be to another population, to be valued, to be told, and to be shared. And so when we start attacking those ideas, we start to attack the fabric of who we are. So I come here with two messages. One, please, your students would love for you to reconsider cutting that position and bringing it back so that they can have that and they can build those skills. And two, Robin, just caution on using language like heavy and hard when it comes to Black stories, because the message that you send is that those Black stories are not important, and we don't want to send those messages from this community. Thank you.
No, I was trying to clarify, I want the teachers trained. That was my main point. And again, no texts were actually mentioned. It's about the proper training so that can be successful. So I caution you to all maybe go back and watch it, because that was not what was said. No books were mentioned, it's teacher training. No, I said I was,
Maybe you should go back and watch.
I know what I said. So thank you.
And if you want to correct it for the record, because it's not what you meant, then that's the right thing to do, to go back and say, for the record, that is not what I meant. It may have come across that way, but that's not what I meant. And I think the town would be happy to accept that as a recourse to your words, but those are the words.
Yeah, well, for the record, it was about getting the proper teacher training so that anything we implement is successful. I want the teachers trained so that when they are reading texts, they have the proper training.
We understand.
Professional development.
We understand it's you know,
Yeah,
that's not what you said.
I apologize if I was unclear. That was not my intent. Anyone else? All right, I forgot to ask at the beginning, do we have updates from the school committee or superintendent?
Yeah, I have a few comments
Yeah.
to make. I was sitting here last week as well. You know, we were having a budget meeting. It wasn't really about curriculum, but it came up anyway. And, you know, being a person that is sitting right here, I have received several emails from the community over my entire tenure of being here on the school committee regarding questionable books, topics, curriculum, I mean, you name it. And I've always listened to people in the community, and then I've always asked them, have you read the book? If you haven't read it, I'll read it and let's have another conversation. And then you know, in the past year, I've contacted Mary Warner directly. Now I'd contact Dan Bauer. Last week caught me off guard because I've never heard a member of this committee become a member of the community and openly speak against a specific curriculum or a topic. You did specifically say Black Panthers and police brutality are heavy topics, and are they appropriate for our school children? Which immediately made me request the book from Dan Bauer and Mary Warner of specifically what was that book, which is One Crazy Summer, and to Shilpa's description is an absolutely beautiful book. It's a timepiece, and equating that to Black Panthers and police violence is like calling, you know, the Happy Days about hippies and marijuana or something. It just didn't fit. It didn't sit right, and I thought it was a little inflammatory. I don't think you meant it in that way. I'll give you that. But I can relate to what the community shared in their tension, and I want to thank you for, you know, trying to clear the record. But I just want to make sure that it's clear that you do know that those were the words you used. And I specifically read the book this weekend. That's what I do. I'm never going to make commentary or make a decision without doing the research on my own and talking to the administrators that we trust, who have gone through the list and have made the decision to put something on the curriculum or not. So I'll leave that there. I do have some other positive information because on Friday I also had a personal day off from work. I got to spend about 3 hours with the superintendent, Mr. Bowers, made a direct visit to 2 of our buildings, specifically the Holton Richmond Middle School, which I think is a lightning rod in this community in regards to parental attitudes and some concerns about what are they gonna do with their elementary school kids and, you know, going into the middle school. I visited last year, and my visit last year was really about looking at the infrastructure, the building, looking at the teachers in the eyes, looking at the students, and, you know, obviously it's gonna be a little sanitized when I'm there, but I was pleased with the environment. I was pleased with, you know, the facilities, and the teachers, the motivation and the passion. I know we have some work to do with the students, and that's being done. I can't say enough about our newest principal, and I'm gonna, Mr. Cantalono? Calantoni, all right, I knew I was gonna mess it up. I wrote it like 3 different times and asked Mr. Bauer. Even though I was in the building for about an hour, I think we spent about 40 minutes of that entire time really just getting to know him as a person and really understanding the things that he's trying to do in the building and working with the staff. And I could feel the difference in the energy in the building. There seemed to be a sense of order. The halls were calm. There weren't a bunch of students around the office. I met the teacher that's working in that, let's call it an auxiliary room, where, you know, students who are.
Second chance room, what is it called?
Opportunity room.
Opportunity.
I said opportunity room. See, even I have flaws. So I just want to applaud you. There's more work to be done, right? Every single day is going to lead, something's going to happen every single day somewhere, but I really applaud you and your entire staff and the teachers and some of the topics. I walked into a room, they were talking about, ancient China and the history and Egypt and really going through the timeline. And the student body, to those who may not know, who don't walk into the buildings, is becoming increasingly diverse. I mean, just from 3 years ago. I mean, I'm seeing it. I don't know if you folks are seeing it during dismissals. If you don't get to get in the building, our town is changing. It is evolving. So, again, when these hot button issues come up, it's all important. So I'm in favor of all of these readings. But I wanted to give accolades to, the Holton Richmond Middle School. And then we went over to Thorpe Elementary School and met with Mr. Riley. And again, another fantastic visit with an incredible staff. It gave a great sense of our aging infrastructure, but it didn't take away from the quality of the firsthand education that I was looking at. I mean, immediately upon entering, there's this incredible grand room. I think there was a 40-foot inflatable whale with real guts on the inside, and the kids were crawling in and out of it. It was sanitary. The kids took off their shoes. It was wonderful. But the enthusiasm of the students going in and out of the inflatable whale, going on stage, talking about the anatomy. But what really struck me, and it's part of our budget talks, was going into the intensive learning center and seeing the work that the teachers are doing in that room. Because these are also our students. And I saw an environment where our students were getting so much love from the teachers that were in that room. I might have seen 4 or 5 hugs. And I don't know if it's something you have to see, but man, we cannot lose those resources. I believe those are ESSER-funded positions, and I'm gonna be there on Saturday morning to support that. I made it my business to go and see that firsthand. Education in this town, it's not only an investment in our students and our people, but to the taxpayers of Danvers. I mean, if you really care about the town, you probably also care about your property value and how your town is viewed. And it's when people look to where they're gonna move, they look at property values. Now they're looking at diversity. Now they're obviously the quality of education and the people, it's all relevant. So I just thought I'd kind of share all of that. And the last thing I'll say to Shobi, because I know you as a person, I know you as a parent, I know your son is going through some stuff, and I hope, and I know you're working on it, the things that he's hearing will not define him, and he will be a bigger and better person because of it. Because I'll tell you, I grew up in an all-white community, and I was called everything under the book, and I didn't let it define me. It just kind of gave me more ammunition into things I want to do. So if there's more I can help with around that, please let me know. But I also know that there are so many people in this community that care about that. And sorry, long speech, last one, our emergency arrivers as well. I see them in our hallways. I see them interacting with other students. 6 months ago, most of them didn't speak a lick of English, but guess what? They spoke 4 or 5 other languages. Now they're speaking English. I'm hearing from families that are thankful of the experiences their kids are having because they're with other kids that are speaking other languages. They're being exposed to other cultures. Now they no longer have a disadvantage when they leave the bubble of Danvers. They're meeting other people who are living other experiences. This is not a challenge. See it as an opportunity. And I can also say that and also in the same breath care about capacity and, limits that we have to deliver the best that we can in education. But we can do both and care about all of it. So I just want to applaud the people in our community who came out to speak about things that they really care about, but know that there's really great work being done in this community. We're looking at it hands-on. I can't say enough about Dan Bauer and all the principals. I mean, walking into a building and every student knowing Dan Bauer, and one of the students in the intensive learning center knowing not only Mr. Bauer, but that he drove a truck, and then some other stuff. I mean, you can't pay for that, right? That's some genuine work being done. So again, I know it was a tense opening. I wanted to make sure it was balanced with, hey, we can all do better each week, but there's really, really great things happening in this town, and I know they will continue to happen, at least as long as I'm sitting here, along with a lot of my colleagues are sitting here as well. So thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you. Thank you for the update on the schools, too. I'm glad you had the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, always.
Anyone else?
Yep. Madam Chair, if I
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
So the item I wanted to bring up is actually about the school calendar, and that's on the agenda tonight to chat about. One of the things I really wanted to take a look at is traditionally our calendar starts, school calendar starts on the Wednesday after Labor Day. What I'm finding from at least from my perspective as a parent, but also from other parents that I've spoken to, is that the last 2 weeks in August continue to cause a bit of a hardship on some of the parents to find daycare, childcare. It's our camps shut down in the town of Danvers mid-August, and it provides a bit of a hardship for people who need to scramble and try to figure out, who's going to take care of the kids. Well, I know that some of this is dictated by the contract. I would like to just at least open up the conversation about this and just see, is it possible to move the start date to before Labor Day, but also to I guess more of a pressing extent, there's 3 half days that actually start Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on the first, second, and third days of school, which pose an additional challenge. So, I don't know if we can figure that out tonight. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think it's worth taking a look at and seeing if we can figure this out. And again, some of this is dictated by the contract, but the stuff that is not dictated by the contract, I think if we can try to come up with a solve as a committee, I'd be all for it and happy to work with whoever it is to try to make this happen.
Thank you. Is there a way we can find out like local districts when they start? I mean, I don't know if we're still common that we start after Labor Day. I feel like we're not that
I'm
common,
happy to
but
gather whatever
yeah.
the committee would like.
I mean, does that be helpful in like
I
if it's
did
half
take-
days versus full
Yeah.
and when they start?
And I did take a look at it.
You
and
want
I-
a short summer?
Yeah, I want to shorten summer, but I also
But then
want
you
to.
get it earlier
I want
in
to bring
June.
summer. I want to open it up.
Get
I
it
want
like
to
this-
extend summer on the other end. Is what I really want to do.
I know, it is in the contract, but because we're negotiating,
Yeah,
there is
no,
room for that now.
Absolutely,
right?
and I don't think it's appropriate to bring up details of a contract negotiation right now, but I do think that we can look at it. I did do an informal search to see what the local communities are. It's not as many people starting before Labor Day as I thought, but it's those 3 half days that don't seem to be across the board in other communities. So I think we should take a closer look at that.
Thank you. You're not the first one to bring up too the concern
Right.
with the camps closing and then
Right,
people
yeah.
are shuffling what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta go, yeah.
all the counselors are from colleges and they got to head
Yeah.
back, and that that kind of changes things. So
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Crane,
Madam Chair, just a couple of things to talk about based largely on what we heard. First of all, maybe of all the things that were said, what's troubling is the fact that a student in our district is being called names on a regular basis. No student should have that experience at one of our schools, and we have to continually work every day, all of us, and work as a community to make sure that if incidents like that happen, they're appropriately dealt with, and that we change a culture that can lead to that. And that doesn't take just the schools, that takes everybody. So I'm sorry your son's going through that. It shouldn't be happening. And I hope you know that those of us up here feel strongly about it and want to see that positive change that we're all looking for. And so I appreciate you sharing everything that you shared with us. Vis-a-vis the discussion regarding books, and I guess I would just say this. First of all, I think, again, everyone here supports the appropriate reading content at appropriate grade levels with highly trained teachers to present the curriculum. I would say that as we sit up here trying to speak often extemporaneously, trying to make a point, any of us are capable of expressing ourselves poorly, saying the wrong thing. I don't think there's a problem with anyone calling us on that when it happens, but I hope that you'll have a little patience with us when it comes to things like this, and consider the whole body of work. And so when you talk about, and this, it came up about you, Robin, let's just say it.
I owned it.
So, right, so I guess what I'm saying is, look at the whole body of work and what someone's tried to accomplish over the years here. And when we make mistakes, when we say the wrong thing, let us know and we'll own it. But a little patience sometimes too. We're doing our best. So, thank you.
Alice, do you have any questions? No? Mr. Bauer?
I just want to echo the comment about our DECA students. I know Mary Beth brought that up, with 43 moving on to the international, and we had the opportunity to go through the mock dry run, and just so impressed with our students, and not only the depth and breadth of their work, but just their passion. So I think, and it was brought up too, as we talked about all of our performing arts, and there are things that really set our community apart. So appreciate that support. We'll definitely have a follow-up on the 25th with more curriculum items too.
Okay, thank you. Julia, update, student rep.
So this was just said, but again, DECA competed this weekend in Boston at States, which is, it's always a big thing. Like 2 days, like half of the teachers are gone, so it's nice for us that don't do it. But again, 38 qualified for nationals, which is, I don't know when, but it's in California, which is very exciting. I'm pretty sure, 100% confident that all winter sports have now ended. This Friday, one of our track relays competed at nationals, which was also in Boston. I know that the track and cross-country teams have been doing really awesome this year. They're great. Also, our DHX acts moved on to semis, which I think was this past weekend. It was in Framingham for their show, This Is Not a Pipe Dream, so they've been killing it as well. Finally, just want to add, obviously it's Women's History Month. I'm a member of Women of the World. This month we like to, after Mr. Federico is doing the morning announcements, we like to talk about a woman each day, pretty much as a means to teach and just talk about female leaders from our current times, but also history. And we like to use people that many of my peers are less familiar with, so not common names like everyone knows who Beyonce is. So we like to use these less popular names to educate yourself. Slides that run across the building all throughout the month. So that's really exciting. And yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks. Any questions, comments?
No, thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to leave. It's up to you. I know you're busy.
I know a little.
And now we have some information from the superintendent.
Great, thank you very much. So we're pleased to have representatives from Great Oak. Principal O'Leary. Ready? Yeah? Come on up. I do have your slides if you need them as well.
We will, yes, if you don't mind.
Just give me the cue.
I will, so you can start them.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So good evening, thank you for having us tonight. I'm Principal Nicole O'Leary of Great Oak Elementary, if you don't know who I am. And I brought along with me Abby Landfair. And before we begin, I want to state that, Abby and I really collaborated on this together. I felt it was important to really show the student voice. And I have to give props to Abby. She went away skiing this weekend, and I saw her working on our collaborative slideshow. So I'm very proud of her for taking time out of her vacation weekend to do that. So one thing unique to Great Oak is each school has their mottos. Great Oaks is Dragon Drive, but one thing unique for Great Oak is our Dragon's Den, and I would like Abby to speak about that.
Hi, I'm Abby Landfair. I'm a 5th grader at Great Oak Elementary, and today I'll be talking about why Great Oak is so great. Our school motto is Dragon Drive. It stands for determination, respect, independence, valued, and empathy. Every Wednesday we have Dragon's Den. 5th with kindergarten, first with 3rd, 2nd with 4th. Dragon's Den connects different grades that most likely wouldn't meet each other or get to know each other. Because of Dragon's Den, I've met so many amazing people. Our school motto teaches us how to show kindness, respect, empathy, and more to students, adults, and teachers. Here are some of the photos of different grades showing the teamwork skills that we have gained over the weeks of Dragon's Den.
I'd also like to include with Dragon's Den, so they're learning about these 5 characteristics, but most importantly, they're really learning team building skills. And it's so great to see the older students working with the littles and how they've connected. And there's such a change when they see each other in the hallways. They have a go-to friend. It's, you know, they're fist pumping, there's hugs. So it's really been great for the students to go through this. So one thing I'd also like to say, when I brought Abby down to say, hey, would you like to join me? I asked her to think about some things that were important to her and what made her proud about Great Oak. And she came down and she said, the teachers. And I said, wow. I said, that is perfect timing, because I just sent out a family survey. And the first question, as you can see, this was the first question on the survey, was, what do you feel are Great Oak's greatest strengths? These are just a few of the overwhelming responses about our teachers. And I'll have Abby talk to you about that a little bit.
As you can see, these are some of the things from the survey. The question was, what do you feel are Great Oak's greatest strengths? I will not read all of them, but here are some of the responses. The staff, teachers, and parents. Hands down, it's the teachers. They are so amazing and so valuable to the experience. Staff that truly care about the students. Fantastic staff, full of dedicated teachers, support personnel, and administrator.
So now for the highlights of, you know, where Great Oak is really shining this year. So aligned with our school improvement goals, so the first is our ST Math. I can't say enough that the students are really rocking it at Great Oak. As of March 8th, they were geared to be at 52%, and as you look at the chart on the right, you know, everybody except for one grade is really, they're meeting it, they're above it, but they're well above that goal. The progress monitors that they have going in the hallways and the classrooms, the kids enjoying it. I go in, they're struggling on puzzles. I love to sit with them. We try to figure it out. I have to say some of them are struggling for me as some of the students are they've advanced to the challenging levels. So it's fun engaging with them and really working with them through that. So they're really making great progress with that, and there's no doubt we're actually on target to meet 100%. So with my last update with the ST Math representative. And then some MTSS celebrations. So an ambitious goal of 90% of all of our students will read at or above grade level. MTSS has been amazing. Going through the classrooms, the students love the walk to read. They're excited to be with different teachers. It's a solid half-hour block with true dedication. And you know, the percentage of our students, as a school, we're at 74% as of the middle of the year benchmark. So that data is a little bit old, so I know it's improved. So I feel that we're also really on, you know, really good target. And I also have to say is, you know, listening to the other conversations tonight, it's really been extremely beneficial for our multilingual learners, because they are really getting a true second dose of what they need. And yes, they are not only speaking, but now beginning to read in English, and it's really, truly amazing. And then the last couple of slides, so just a couple of celebrations and events we had recently. We brought back the STEAM Fair this year. It was absolutely amazing. We had over 60 participants presenting innovative projects. The kids had a blast, the families had a blast, and I have to say that the work was truly done by the students, which was very impressive from K to 5. You could tell parents helped and guided, but the presentations, completely student-led. It was an absolutely amazing night. And then finally, Mr. Bauer, thank you. We celebrated Read Across America. These are just a few, and of course I had to highlight you in there, Dan, and Mary, because they did come to Great Oak. So we had many community members join us. They had a blast. The kids enjoyed having guest readers in their classrooms. And it was such a great week. I think we have an overwhelmingly turnout. We had a spirit day each day with a number of participants for last week. Anything else you want to say?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
And that's it. So thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you, Abby. Thank
Any
you, Ms.
questions?
O'Leary.
Thank you.
Abby, you have some family, if they want to get in a quick
Oh,
picture,
yeah.
your school committee, it's a big deal. If family would like to come up for a picture. I know, I'm embarrassing, I'm so sorry, I can't, I'm a father too, so I get it. Gotta take a picture, you know. I meant for mom.
Yeah, do you guys want to
Do you
be
wanna
in
get-
it? You can be in
Do
it.
you want to go with the school?
Mrs. O'Leary, thank you also for bringing up MTSS, because like the kids actually really enjoy it too. And it is amazing what's happening during that time.
All right. Ready for Holton
Next,
Richmond?
yep.
Come on up.
Good evening. I'm proud to be up here with two of our 8th graders. We're going to talk about Holton Richmond. Mr. Lopes, thanks for joining us last Friday. We welcome anyone from the school committee to join our school. We are a work in progress. We're proud of the work our students and staff are doing, but we know we have a long way to go. And I do apologize for your son's experience. I'd like to continue that conversation as well. And to anybody that would like to talk about some of the decisions we're making for next year, happy to meet with any families. But I want to turn it over to our students. I'm super proud to introduce Kyle Hampy, who's going to talk about Project 351.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Hampy, and I'm an 8th grader at Holton Richmond Middle School. I was honored to be selected to represent Danvers and HRMS for Project 351, which is a nonprofit organization that provides service. One of my biggest goals in life is to help people who are in need, so it meant a lot to me to be chosen for this role. My experience has been great so far. Everything has been very organized. I have learned many skills to become a better leader in my community through the Zoom calls that take place every Tuesday. My takeaways from Project 351 launch day are that if we work alone, we can do a lot, but if we work together, we can do anything. Many kinds of community service took place, and overall, we impacted over 27,000 lives positively, which is amazing. I'm leading a community service project for the Cradles to Crayons organization. I have formed a leadership team of 12 students, including Alice and Josh's kids, Ben Campbell and Ari Kepnes. We will meet this Wednesday and work together to create bins and posters to collect clothing for children in need. So far, this experience has meant a lot to me. I'm so excited to be able to help people, and I'm looking forward to going through this process through Project 351. Thank you.
And we're so pleased to have Kyle represent our school in Danvers. When we think of 351, we really try to think of those quiet leaders who just come to school and do the right thing every day for the right reasons and just quietly lead by example. And Kyle, you've been an outstanding choice for us this year. And my first year at Holton Richmond, it's been a pleasure to have 8th graders like Kyle leading us. Jefferson misses ST Math. He really would like to hop back on there, he said. But when we were thinking about highlights for Holton Richmond, really we're just trying to think about who are we trying to become? And we're really trying to build community at the school. Middle school is so important as we take in all our 5th graders across the district and really develop them as young people and head them off to high school. So I asked Jefferson to really run down this year, kind of highlight from his perspective and his classmates' perspectives of what's really stuck out this year at Holton Richmond for us. So we kind of a year in review. And Jefferson is the face of Hawks News, so he's gonna do this Hawks News style. So come on up, Jefferson.
Well, good afternoon, school committee. Mr. Colantoni's already done all the introductions for me, so let's get right into it. So this year, in my opinion, has been one of the best years that we have started off with. First day of the year, we had our opening day ceremony, which I felt Mr. Colantoni did an astounding job of putting on. I really felt I was refreshed. Like normally the first day of school, it's like, oh, I gotta get back in school. But I was feeling excited to come back to school, and this is probably one of the first years that I've been that happy to come back to school. Another thing that we just had this afternoon was our Hoops for Hawks annual 3v3 tournament. I'm not quite sure who the winner was, but I know my brother was there, and he was able to watch the whole thing, and he said that it was really good, so I'm glad we have that back. One thing that we had at the very beginning of the year was our amazing hero art speaker, Rob Surratt. He put on a really great inspirational show. I know it left an impact on the entire school, and he also gave us a really cool art piece that is sitting up in Cafeteria B. My favorite thing is the Veterans Day Assembly that was hosted and emceed by yours truly, and we were able to get into the mind and almost body of the veteran that we had our guest speaker for that afternoon. He really opened up eyes to what it's like to be a veteran and a person in action. So I was really glad to have emceed that and to have just been there. One thing that happened in November was our hopefully annual Gobbler Games, where it was a little bit of competitiveness between the grades, where it was like some competitive sport-esque activities that each grade was competing with, and each winning team would get a little turkey trophy that each grade, so the teacher whose homeroom did the best in each grade is hosting that trophy. But we're hoping to make this an annual thing so it won't stay in one place for too long. Now, the most important thing on this list, in my opinion, is these monthly Hawk Talks that we've been having every single month. And this is probably the best addition to this year. We've been having minute to win it games where basically Ms. LaRock, Mr. McGraw will call up a certain amount of kids for each team, and they will have another sport-esque competition. So while there's important topics being discussed, there's also a little friendly team v team, grade competition. So yeah, but to add on to these, we are having Student of the Month awards. Those have been brought back. But the most important part of these monthly Hawk Talks is that they're speaking to the students and not at the students. This is important because as a student myself, if I'm being talked to as an equal, I'm able to understand the information better than if I'm being talked over. So that's one of the most important part of these Hawk Talks. I don't want to waste too much time here, so we're gonna keep going through. But another thing is we've had a couple of dances going on. We have one coming up for the 8th grade in DC, but we just had one last Friday for the 7th grade and one at the beginning for the 7th and 8th grade. Both of those went extremely well, and we're hoping to have more of those next year and the years to come. Student Council Spirit Week, I know that's an annual tradition. Favorite day was Student Teacher Swap Day. That gave me the most laughs that I've ever had, and that was super funny. Brought back field trips this year, so the 8th grade, the 8th grade was able to go on to a play, but it was, instead of a normal play, these were poems by rather unknown poets that were performed as a play. So there were some more popular ones like the Edgar Allan Poe's, but there were some unknown and less popular plays, in my opinion, that we were really able to see brought to life in this play. So that was really important. Another thing is the 7th grade is going on a trip to the PBD Essex Museum. That's coming up in They went today. And 6th grade, obviously going to Nature's Classroom, as I think that's been a tradition. Pretty sure that's a tradition. They went to Nature's Classroom. And the final thing that I believe is planned is the annual 8th grade DC trip. That's going to be a blast. We're planning to see a baseball game the first day, visit a bunch of national monuments, just a whole nation bomb of information that I'm really excited to see. And the biggest thing on this list is the extracurricular activities that we have been offering this year. That's the biggest highlight. But the main thing that is new this year is now we are offering a late bus. So students who haven't been able to attend these extracurriculars due to transportation issues or just timing, now they are able to take a late bus home and not have to worry, and it puts the parents at ease knowing that their children can get home and not have them have the added pressure of having to sort who's picking them up, when they're picking them up, what club's happening today. So that's really helpful for all of them. I'm just gonna list off a couple of things that we have for this year. We have extra help. That's Monday through Thursday, whatever day the teachers are after, 2 to 2:45. December, January, we had Ski Club, where the students took a trip up to Ski Bradford. We've had Dare Sports, run by the Dare program. It's hosted in the gym by the gym teachers. So far we've had floor hockey. This month, I think, is basketball. And I believe there was a couple other ones, not off the top of my head. But yeah, so the one I'm most experienced with is obviously Hawks News, which is anchored by me this year and was co-anchored by me last year. That's a bi-weekly show where me and my team, along with Mr. Acola, will produce a basically mini school update of what's going on. So but it's not just boring news. It's we try to add some HRMS flair to it, make it a little more interesting than just watching 7 News on the channel. But yeah, so that's really fun to do. I know the students enjoy it. We got comedy in there. It's on YouTube if you want to take a look. Like I said, as mentioned earlier, we had drama club in the Matilda Junior play that was just put on a couple days ago. Engineering club, which has been going on every Monday. Art club, which has been happening year-long as well. The student council, which was the ones who put on the Spirit Week. We are LGBTQ+ Alliance, the Environmental Club, the Danvers Cares Club, Board Games Club, and the Yearbook Club, which is now starting to sell its yearbooks. So as you all can see, there's a lot has been happening at this year, but we're really trying to highlight the main key points that really show us how great of a year that we've had so far. I know there's more to become that I'm not aware of, but Mr. Colin Tony always finds something to pull out of the hat. But yeah, so that's all I got for you. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for listening. Hope I didn't ramble on for too long. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jefferson's available to MC anything they might need.
Yeah. Does he do the morning announcements?
Ironically, no.
Might need to think about that.
We have a great group of sixth graders that do morning announcements.
Thank you. And Kyle, we had heard a lot about you, so it's also nice to meet you in person. So thank you both. And Jefferson, we do get the Hawk News. Superintendent Bauer does send it to us, so we get to watch it. Yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We have time for the obligatory picture to embarrass students with families.
All right, let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
I don't know, I think he might be auditioning for the student rep this student.
He could start as a freshman.
Come on, let's get a great picture here.
The camera's in the way, though.
No, I'm always in the back.
We got everybody. I see mom's head. There you go. Thank you for everybody being here.
Thank you very much.
Nice job.
You guys are great.
Okay. We are up now. There's CPAC update, our Special Education Parent Advisory Council. So our chair, Susie Soldani, interim co-chair, Jenny Corsino, and our secretary, Amanda Daniels. Jen's here tonight to speak on behalf of CPAC, and I just want to say before we begin, just appreciate the collaboration. I know we're going through some transitional work, and the forum that was hosted recently was outstanding, and I've enjoyed the work and look forward to more continued work. And Josh Kepnes is the representative on the school committee, so the floor is yours, Jen.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the time tonight, so thank you, Superintendent Bauer, for giving us this time tonight. And it's nice to actually see everyone in person, because usually it's, watching this either replay or live, with kids on either side and stirring a pot or something. So it's really nice to actually be here and actually fully present in hearing everything from the community. So I appreciate this. Thank you. So I am here with Amanda Daniels. She is our secretary. Susie Soldani unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. I am interim co-chair, and Susie is the chair currently. And we do have a couple of open positions as well for our board, which is something that I did want to mention for anybody who is interested as well. And we did also post that on the superintendent's email that went out. And some of the things that we wanted to discuss tonight were just some of the initiatives that we've been putting into place, and just kind of putting this out there and getting some support, obviously, with the administration has been wonderful. We'd like, Superintendent Bauer had said we quickly put together a really wonderful forum, and Amanda had put together a parent Google Doc survey. I was thinking Google Docs, no, it's survey. So she put a survey to get feedback, and it was really positive. We did get some, some positive feedback on what we can do a little bit better for topics in the future. But we got some really excited parents for looking forward to some more initiatives from CPAC, administration, the transparency from administration last month. So I just wanted to share that appreciation from the team that was present on that. So thank you again. We will continue those. We have gotten a few topics for suggestion, but next month we'll be doing the high school and middle school combined, so that'll be our next month's topic. The 21st, still TBD on the timing, but most likely the 6:30 time slot. That information will be going out soon, most likely this Friday. Also wanted to mention that we are actively looking for open positions for members as well. So we kind of did something a little bit different. We do have our board of leadership, but we also did want to give parents an opportunity to get involved as well and have membership roles to kind of give them more of a hands-on approach with different initiatives that we have planned throughout this year, especially with a lot of changes that are coming down the pike for both the next coming school year and the next 5-year plan with everything happening, within special education program. And then, of course, all the initiatives that CPAC has for the next 5 years. And some of those, we'll be disclosing within the next few months, when we're ready to bring that to the committee. But also something that we wanted to make light of is that we are also hosting an event that Amanda is really spearheading right now that is going to be at the library. And they're doing an amazing job working with us. They're so excited to learn more about CPAC and the special education community. It is all-inclusive, so we invite all children of our community to work to find the treasure hunt. And that's what I'll leave you with that. More details to come on that, but we do have some exciting things planned for that event. The librarian is extremely excited, and so are some of the kids that we've already most of them are kids that are really excited to see what's in those treasure boxes that we've shown them. And of course, we're all excited because it was really fun to plan. Some other things that we're excited to get into, which are not as exciting, it's budget, curriculum, things like that. But we are, going to be a little bit more hands-on, asking a lot more questions, being more present, and bringing the parents to light too, because there are a lot of questions that go back and forth. So I just wanted to, make sure that we introduced ourselves more in person, that we're here. We'll definitely be more present in the coming future, and just thank you for everything that you guys have been doing, and excited for a lot of the changes. And we are really diligently working our thumbs on all of our text messages and emails for Saturday's town hall for our budget to pass, because I'm putting it out there to get funds for the special education because we need it. Our kids need it, they deserve it, and so I'm excited, and thank you. Do you guys have any questions for CPAC?
Well, first, I just want to thank you. I know it's a lot of work all of you put into it, and I know that you're always helping families and helping them advocate, so thank you so much to all of you. You mentioned positions that are open. Does a family have to have a children in special ed, or is it like, what is the, I guess,
Sure.
What are you looking for in a person applying?
So specifically, the board does require the child to have a 504, an IEP, somebody within a special education program, yes.
Okay, so 504 is also okay?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Any parent, caregiver, teacher, community member, you don't have to have.
Correct.
Even have a child.
Yes.
Some people might want to go.
Right.
Yes.
And one more thing to add, it includes our families with out-of-district placements, all under the Danvers umbrella.
Correct. Correct. Even if they're out of district, absolutely. We invite them.
And I know Josh is the subcommittee liaison. Is there anything else we can do to support all of you? Other than pass the budget.
I was just going to say, I mean, anything you can do to rally up some funding and inclusive opportunities and education, because I think that some of the things coming down for parent concerns is educating from community and school. So it is not just our schools, it is community as well. So that is a big initiative. That is something I know that Mary and I have talked in great length about recently, about inclusivity and bringing that to light, and then of course just educating the community, because that really is where it starts.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to thank you for doing this. And everyone working with you as well, because CPAC is, it's such an important, I guess I would say, resource for parents who have students in the system on an IEP or with a 504. And it's a great place for parents to exchange ideas, learn from one another, and just have a place to share what's going on in your life beyond even just the school things. Having a connected community has got to be some help and relief for anybody who is raising a special education child. So I appreciate you doing this and keeping this group organized, and as I say, it's a great resource, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was just going to add, Jen and Amanda and Susie have done a great job with this, so it's been a pleasure to work with you, and I just, you can see the passion that they have with this, and just keep doing what you're doing on this one. So,
thank you. We appreciate your help. Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Busy night. Just to bring some updates in terms of searches that we have. Excuse me. At the Great Oak Elementary School, we are going through a principal search. Our principal last summer, Martha, she left in July, so that really was a tough time to find a principal. Didn't give us much time, so we went with an interim. But we did say all along that we would be posting for a permanent position. So that process is beginning. The search committee, which is made up of a number of stakeholders in the Great Oak community, have come together. They've selected 7 candidates for interviews, 24 applications total we have. So, and many are sitting principals. So it's a really strong pool. And as this round is through the search committee, and we're always careful that it's not public at this time in terms of those members, because it may put them in conflict. The goal of the search committee tomorrow is to bring forth finalists for the second round, and that will take place shortly after. So we're looking forward to that. Once those finalists are they're set upon, then we'll release that information to the Great Oak community with any background. And part of the second round is setting up interviews with the administrative team, but also set up opportunities for the school community to meet with the finalists. So we'll work on various forums with the staff and with families, so they have an opportunity to not only meet the finalists, but also provide feedback as we go to make that decision. So it's a big decision, but the work is, the search committee's done a wonderful job, so proud of what they're doing so far. So we'll see. That takes place tomorrow, the interviews. Also, we have a search at the Holton Richmond for an assistant principal. Mr. McGraw stepped out of the classroom last year to become assistant principal. He's done a wonderful job, but he has found his passion really is teaching in front of the class. And so he gave it a shot for a year, and we agreed once he took the job last year that he would have that window built into his contract. So he's returning back to the classroom next year, and Mr. Colantoni has posted the position, and that process is beginning. I know he sent out information looking for members to be on the search committee, and that process will be ongoing, and that's a critical position too, as Mr. Lopes noted in his visit to Holton Richmond, and I see it when I'm in, there's a lot of work to be done, and a lot more work that needs to be done, but it's a tough job being an administrator, so we gotta make sure we have the right person in the place. So that's it for Holton Richmond and Great Oak. I did have my update with the my evaluation, but I actually switched the order if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just want to go with the Director of Student Services. We're going through with this search process. The position has been posted. We have a number of applicants. So we wanted to announce tonight basically what the process will be. Tomorrow we'll send out a message to the community looking for members that would want to serve on the search committee. We're looking for a variety of stakeholders, so we'll send an email out tomorrow. Mary will be the chair of the committee. Thank you, Mary. for your work there. But we'll have a member of CPAC, school committee member, teachers, teacher aide, administrative assistant, and parents to put together a search committee. And the goal for them is to select finalists to move on to the second round. But they will screen the applicants. They'll also develop questions, and that will come from a focus group. Traditionally, we have in-person focus groups with staff and families and then send out a Google form. We're under a little bit of a tight window of hire because it's so competitive now, and we know that the ultimate piece is school committee interview and selection for this position. So we're working for the timeline so that it'll match for an April 8th meeting here ultimately at the final interview for the finalist. So what that means is that we'll send out the Google forms, and we will also offer an opportunity for parent forum through CPAC. We talked today, just developing, where on the 21st of March, we'll have an opportunity for families to come on. They don't have to necessarily be part of CPAC, just any family, so they can provide feedback if they choose to do that as opposed to a Google form. So we'll take all that feedback, we'll dive it in, and we'll code it out. Fancy way of saying that we'll take the major themes to guide what we're looking for in the qualities of our next Director of Student Services, as well as our interview questions, and that's really important. So the timeline, it's a fast timeline. So once we get that established, we'll have the screening committee meet on the week of the 25th. First round of interviews, we're looking March 26th. So it's not gonna be the next day, it's later in the week. And then once we have finalists, we'll go to a second round, which then that will require us to bring finalists here on campus where they'll meet with staff, they'll meet with administrators, and then we set up a CPAC forum that families can have an opportunity to meet the finalists. And we, again, talked with CPAC today, and they agreed to do that. So we'll take that feedback and make an ultimate decision to bring a finalist to you for your interview and for your final selection of the Director of Student Services. So that is a big hire as well. So appreciate the collaboration with CPAC and looking forward. And again, the accelerated process just to stay, it's a competitive position. So, and that's it for the updates on the hiring process. The last thing that I have for updates is a lot of fun. It's my evaluation. It is the only evaluation that's public. It's through the school committee. And at this point, at the end of the year, summative evaluation will take place. So I'll walk you through just a high-level presentation of the process, and I'll share with you the rubric that's utilized, as well as some helpful notes. So next meeting, we have a virtual meeting. I'll provide an update on our district goals and superintendent goals, which is, we're a little past the midpoint of the year. I know the time is really moving. Excuse me. In April, I'll present the entry plan at the school committee in terms of my findings, in terms of what's happening in the district, because that does tie into one of my goals, as well as connecting to developing a strategic plan, where we'll need a lot of stakeholders to help us with that, which is coming up. And in May, I will present to you an end-of-cycle progress report, and within that, I'll put together evidence that supports the 3 goals that I shared earlier in the year with you, as well as the evaluation standards. You'll review my report and evidence that I've provided, and then you in turn will create your own independent report and ultimately bring it together for a summative report that's constructed. And I did take this word because I don't ordinarily use preponderance of information, but the bottom line is it's bringing it all together to bring a holistic view from the 5 members. And that is shared publicly in June with the final version of that report. So once that is shared and discussed, then you'll vote to decide whether you accept or not, and that ends the cycle. So it's a 1-year cycle. It can be a 2-year cycle depending on where we're at, but it is a 1-year cycle. So in terms of the report itself, again, I'm not going to read through all this, but there's a number of standards and indicators that I will make connections with my evidence. So I'll put it together electronically for you with links, such as agenda items, such as actionable items that have occurred that match the 4 major standards. And again, you'll review and then write your report. And then moving forward, you'll make a decision on my rating. The 4 standards are instructional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, professional culture. Largely mirrors the teacher evaluation, except standard 1 is instructional leadership, and those are teaching and learning. And management and operations, they're teaching all students. So I'll break that down when I send you the rubric and then the 3 goals.
So in terms of this piece, there are a number of strands that fall under Standard 1, but ultimately it's really just about that shared vision for driving and promoting powerful teaching and learning. Standard 2, management operations, really using resources to implement appropriate curriculum, staffing, and scheduling. 3, family and community engagement, effective partnerships with families and community organizations and other stakeholders. And Standard 4 is creating a professional culture. So in terms of the goals, the 3 goals that I shared at the beginning of the year, I'll provide in that end-of-year report my progress and evidence. And again, just as a reminder, the 3 goals that I have for this year is the entry plan, which I'll share with you in April. Goal 2, which is maintaining momentum during transition. And number 3 is the new superintendent induction program, which I will be off campus tomorrow attending the next session, and I'll provide all that information for you on that. So I'm not going to go through, a lot of this is just verbiage in terms of the ratings, but it's used the 3 standards of exemplary, proficient, needs improvement, and unsatisfactory. And proficient really is the landing piece. Exemplary is reserved for educators and superintendents, but that's really the practice that's so strong that really could be a model for others. But proficient is typically, it's a strong rating, but we go through that and you'll make your decision on that. And I look forward to your feedback as I'm looking to improve my practice as your superintendent. This is just, again, just what one of the rubrics looks like, and you'll see the rubrics where you have an opportunity to mark each one, whether it's unsatisfactory, needs improvement, proficient, or exemplary, and there's room for narrative. That'll come forth from each of your independent reports to a collective report that will be shared out with the community. So that's really it in a nutshell. That's a quick 30,000-foot view of that, but again, I look forward and value your feedback as looking to improve my practice. So that's all I really have for that at this point.
Any questions? I know the process is new to some, Eric, it's not new to you, but it's new to some of us.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And all I can tell you from that is that I don't know any school committee person that I've ever talked to who thinks that it's easy, B, that it's the best tool, or that evaluating a superintendent's performance is simple. Because, and the real challenge all of us face is all of us see parts of what you do. But a lot of as you find, as you go through the specific questions, a lot of it are things that go on in ways that we wouldn't see it. And we do our best to give you feedback, both really positive and where we see areas of improvement, and that's all we really can do. But it's a challenge because all of us know that a lot of sometimes the best stuff is stuff that happens behind the scenes that we'll never see. But the more information you provide us, Dan, the better it is, for us to work with. So we will get it done.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Okay, so we have unfinished business.
So back in January, I can't believe it's already March, the high school principal and curriculum director both presented the Danvers High School Program of Studies for first reading, and now we'd like to bring it forth for a second reading. And just as a reminder, the bullet points are the new courses. There's not a lot of updates with the Program of Studies, just some basic adjustments that any high school would go through in terms of a few adaptations of some new courses. And a lot of that's through student interest as well as feedback from the staff to best provide an experience for our students. Also, the ESL programming, which is important, our SCI programming, which then digs down deep to help students in some of the content areas. There's an adjustment with the honor roll criteria, just boosting it up a little bit. Not a huge changer, but just a little bit of a cleanup, as most program of studies are. So I'd like to bring this forth and recommend for second reading to the school committee for approval, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the high school program of studies for a second reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None.
Thank you.
New
All right.
business.
They'll be excited to hear this.
It's early too, which is good.
It's good because
Yeah.
they're going through the scheduling process right now, and it's complex, and it's important. The school counseling will meet with all the students, so that's great. Thank you for that. And the school calendar, I know it was mentioned earlier, Josh brought it up in terms of some requests. It is a little tricky because we are in negotiations, and this is a part that's been discussed, so really, that has to be separate as we go forward, so any feedback is fine. But at the end of the day, the school year moves on, so we brought forth a calendar that really is similar to last year's calendar, or this year's calendar. We have reviewed it with DPW to make sure there are no conflicts. We had a conflict this year when the town had a holiday and we didn't. That is clear with DPW, and I asked Jen Breaker from the town to review just to make sure. It seems that there are no conflicts. I did provide the calendar, and again, it's in your packets. We can put it on the webpage too. So I am recommending the calendar for first read with the school committee, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? No, Josh, we talked at the beginning. Are there any other questions?
I guess I just have a question procedurally. How does this work? Are there things that we can control in this calendar and make adjustments that don't have to be included in the Danvers teachers' contract?
Well, very, very clearly states in terms of the start, the professional development days and the half days. That's clearly stated in the contract. But in terms of other items, for example, one that other superintendents we've talked about is, the December break, when to begin the December break and where the holiday falls. It's in the middle of the week. Last year was a little earlier in the week. So we're looking to stop, classes and start December break on the 23rd. It's a little longer. That happens occasionally in the cycle. In this coming year, that will be a little bit longer. In terms of some of the other pieces, there's not a whole lot of room in terms of the start. Like I said, that's built in. And again, if things change, I'm very careful to talk to negotiations, but if things do change, then obviously there would be an amendment. If the calendar's accepted, there would be amendments and such like that to the calendar. So, but we counted out the days and make sure the early release and make sure that we meet the 180 days. The snow days are in there as well. And the holidays fell similar as they have in the past with last year's calendar.
Yeah,
Maybe we could do a community survey.
I'm sorry?
We could do a community survey and present it to
yeah.
DTA.
I struggle with this one too, just because I know that I'm getting feedback from parents, and I share the same exact feeling that it's a burden. It's just hard for me to support this calendar, just knowing that. But
and that's the tricky part because again, I don't want to pit one against the other for sure.
Sure, of course.
But gathering feedback and having discussion, I'm happy to do any research that if you'd like me to do and bring it back to the committee.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I know families have to know because they have to figure out childcare in the summer, so it's
Of
like
course,
they
yeah.
want to know that piece. So I see all of it, yeah.
This is an issue that is really, steeped in the collective bargaining piece. And so, but negotiations are ongoing, and so that's a positive thing because if we're going to talk about it, now is the time.
Now's the time.
So.
Thank you. Okay, so the discussion, so now all those in favor of the first approval of the first reading for the 2024-2025 school year, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
I couldn't hear that. You're opposed or yeah?
I'm
opposed as of now?
I'm opposed as
Okay,
of now
gotcha.
for the calendar,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Secretary, it's you.
The secretary moves to approve and release the minutes from the January 22nd and February 12th, 2024 regular meeting and approve but not release the minutes from the February 9th, 2024 executive session.
Second.
Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. And then we need a motion for the fundraising and homeschool approvals.
Motion to approve the fundraising and homeschool approvals.
Second.
Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All approved, none. Any legislation updates?
The only update is that I talked with Sally Kearns today, and I know Dan spoke with her, and they're coming on Sally Kearns and Joan Lovely, the state senator, are coming to our April meeting. So I would just ask everybody to have questions for discussion so that their time is useful here.
It's April 8th, so it's in the in-person meeting too?
Yep.
Okay. All right, subcommittee updates. There's nothing new with curriculum and equity policy?
The subcommittee, no, that meeting will take place in April.
There's policy. Okay.
Curriculum and equity
Curriculum
subcommittee is
in April, but then policy, we have.
Policy will take place in March.
March, okay, so it's the fourth Monday
Yes,
of the month.
that'll be virtual, yes.
I know you have safety.
So yeah, safety committee updates, we meet on a monthly basis. We've been making great strides in terms of looking to improve communication. That's been a big goal. So we've reviewed a platform, an app that will be able to inform teachers, staff of any emergencies. Then that will go right into the Blackboard to get information out to families very quickly. And we've researched that. Essex Tech has this. It's Informacast, it's called. And the committee has favored moving forward, so we're looking to secure that, so at least have it ready to go, so when we start the fall, we can have it fully implemented within our school community. And again, that provides quick information, God forbid, in a major emergency, or even just updates if there's fire drills or other drills with families, because oftentimes you're waiting for my feedback or the principal's feedback when they're typically dealing with an item. This is very quick communication. Also just looking to do a review and audit of our buildings in terms of safety and accessibility. That's coming up as well. And we have created a district threat assessment team. They're actually going through part 2 of professional development right now as we speak, and we'll bring that back at the end of the year to discuss that more in detail, and that will be in place in the fall, which is woefully needed. So my hat's off to that committee. And they've done great work there. And I think just overall, the communication and just receiving feedback in terms of our safety procedures and protocols, it's been a great committee, and look forward to the meeting at the end of the month.
And it's also been nice to work with the fire and police department. They've been very collaborative.
Yes, they have, and we also have our DTA president and vice
Yes.
president there, and they provide very nice balanced feedback with what the staff is facing in those items.
So we got an update from Deep, so March 14th, the wine tasting. Danvers Cares.
Danvers Cares met this month, Mary.
This month. Yep, so they're working on the teen youth health and safety guide, so they're putting that together, so that's looking good. I think they set their date for Light the Night Purple will be May 15th. It's a Wednesday. And then they also are collaborating with the NAN project to do a trusted adult training, and that's this Monday. And it's a hybrid event, so you can come to the Danvers High Auditorium at 7 p.m. or you can watch it online. And they're working on how, with adults learn to be those trusted adults.
Thank you. CPAC, we have an update. We received an update already. That's what I meant to say.
Nothing to add.
And then Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, Eric.
The February meeting, I believe, was canceled. They had other events that went on. I think the March meeting should be next Thursday, I think, Josh.
I believe next week, but in February, so we're a month later, we held the Black Excellence event at the Senior Center here in Danvers. Some of the members of our committee were in attendance. Absolutely phenomenal event. Can't thank Joko, Johan, and the rest of the, Human Rights Inclusion Committee for a phenomenal event. It was a sold-out event. The room was absolutely packed. There was music, food, poetry, and just a phenomenal gathering. So that was one of the highlights.
Can I add one thing? And Mary, you might be thinking what I'm thinking. So the February meeting was changed, and it actually was to highlight our next gen group of students led by Janelle Ridley, who's done an outstanding job. And that group is working on ways to break down barriers, to improve inclusion, around equity and inclusion and diversity. And they're doing it in such thoughtful ways, and it's refreshing to see our students they've put a lot of work into this. And at the library, they hosted, it was really a board game night. And it was very interesting because they created 2 separate types of board games that allowed conversation to occur around topics that could be challenging just in a regular setting, but I thought they did such a thoughtful job in breaking it down to a point where the game flowed. One was modeled after Parcheesi, I think, and the other one was Chutes and Ladders. I chose Chutes and Ladders, much easier for me. I like Candyland too, but that wasn't modeled. But I thought they did an exceptional job of leading the way, presenting, and the goal is to bring that into schools and really into the middle school, which we really need, as a way to break down barriers, to create discussions. And I know Mike was there as well, Mary was there. And it was this well done, and the students then spoke afterwards about their experience. I think there were others to that.
Yeah, many
right?
of the
Yeah.
audience was there.
So it was time well spent, and I'm very proud of our students, and maybe I can have them come to a follow-up meeting to talk about their work.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
think
cool.
that would be more than appropriate. Great, that's it.
So our next meeting is virtual, May 25th at 6:30. If there is nothing else, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, good night, Danvers.